I never had a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem. So I
Mm.
had thought from my trauma. So once you get away from this, I want to stop smoking and then smoking a cigarette. Stop. It's the symptom. You get rid of that cigarette that day. What are you left with? You're still left with you that wants to self-sabotage. It's just been that's been in the family from birth because your mum smoked or your dad. Now we're going into generational enmeshment and learned behavior. It's not the problem. You are the problem. So once you go back and clear the mind of that stuff that took you there, the cigarette is nothing. The alcohol is nothing. The drugs are nothing. The porn is not the problem. And people concentrate on that instead of what the real problem is, and that is internal.
On my $1,000,000 hustle. It's the $1,000,000 Hustle Podcast, where we keep it real. I stated entrepreneurship wisdom. Learn to think like a millionaire and hustle like you're broke. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, aka Billionaire. Feel like a millionaire and hustle like you broke. This free game to change your life, you better so. Think like a millionaire and hustle like you broke.
Welcome to the $1,000,000 Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy Billy the Kid, aka BDK. Guys, let's just say I'm fucking pumped right now. I am ready to fucking take over the world, and that is the effect that this man on the podcast has every single time I speak to him. When I've heard him speak on stage, and he's just amazing, guys. Like, and on top of that, I've had coffee. It's amazing. I'm actually getting ready before we jump on this amazing. Like, I honestly, guys, like I'm gonna get this thing edited so I can listen to it because I'm heading out on a 3-hour drive to KC. We are going to be at the Millionaire Mentorship speaking. I'm gonna be one of the speakers there. Shout out to Troy, man. Thank you so much for everything that you do and for putting this thing together. Thank you for choosing me as one of the speakers with all the amazing speakers on there. You have an amazing lineup, guys. I'm so pumped. I cannot wait. And actually, the presentation I have, man. This man came to me and said, "Hey, man, you're good with the mindset." And obviously, as you guys know, I'm a mindset success coach. So as soon as he said it, I'm like, "Oh man, let's go." I'm bringing that fire. So I am fired up. Literally, we haven't left yet because I was looking forward to doing this podcast. Now that it's done, I'm heading out, guys. And guys, I just want you guys to really listen to what I'm saying. Like, it just gave me chills. Like, I just got done recording a podcast, and then I'm going to head out to go speak at an event. Meaning, I am living my dream, guys. Like, again, chills. You can do it too. If I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing, you can do it too, guys. And that's why I do what I do. Today, Robb Kelly's who we have on the podcast, and he talked about that. It's crazy. That's why I love this man, because he said what I always say as well. I don't have to do this, guys. Like, straight up, I don't have to release another song, another podcast. I don't have to record another podcast. We're set, guys. And thank God. Not just my wife and I, our family, but also our kids. Generational wealth. Like, we literally wouldn't have to do anything, but we just love the hustle, man. We love the growth, and that's where I'm about. Like, we're not gonna stop, but we don't have to do these things. We do them for that simple reason that I just said, guys. If I can do it, and I'm showing you, you can too. There's no excuses. So, with that being said, guys, again, I'm just super pumped right now. Such an amazing interview. And guys, go to his website. It's somewhere on the description here, robbkelly.com. And he's actually going to, whoever messages him on Instagram or wherever, he's going to send you a free autographed copy of his book. Like, how amazing is that? So go ahead and hit the man up. But listen to the interview first, so that way you could get the full of why I'm so pumped and all this stuff. And then at the end, guys, please go ahead and follow this man and go ahead and grab a free autograph book that he's going to personally mail you. And actually, it gets even better than that. He gives you something else at the very end. So with that being said, guys, I'm just ready to jump in. I'm going to head out right now. And actually, I'm going to do a vlog. So by the time this airs, it'll probably be already out. So go check out the vlog in KC. And real quick, guys, I forgot to mention, grab my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. Also, if you want to join the Uncomfortable Mastermind, this is who we surround ourselves with, guys, like this right here. So if you want to join us, info@billythekid.com. Send us your story, what you do, why you want to join a group like this, the Get Uncomfortable Mastermind, and we'll get back to you. Right now, we are full. But either A, we're gonna open up another group, or B, when a spot becomes available. As of right now, we are closed, but send us your email so you can get on the list. But with that being said, guys, again, I'm super pumped. Here is Dr. Robb Kelly. Let's get it, baby. Vámonos. Welcome to the $1 Million Hustle Podcast, baby. It is your boy, Billy the Kid, a.k.a. BDK. I am so pumped. It's been a long time coming for this interview that I have for you guys today. As you know, the $1 Million Hustle is to get your attention, but truly means who do you need to be to get to that milestone? And a lot of it, guys, I would say almost 99% of it is mindset. And today, that is exactly who I have on. Dr. Robb Kelly, how are you doing? It's an honor, man.
Baby, good to see you guys. Thank you for having me on. Hey, sit down, guys. This is going to be freaking awesome.
I am pumped, man. As I was telling you off air, no pun intended, but I have a million questions for the $1 Million Hustle Podcast. And let's start from the beginning. I would love to hear your story of kind of how you got to where you're at now.
Yeah, well, I was born into an alcoholic family, though, but didn't know it then, obviously. A musician. At the age of 9, I'm on stage with my auntie and uncle playing musical family in bars and clubs. Just wanted to be a musician, man. Just had a little anxiety when I was a kid, but when I put a guitar on my neck, all the anxiety went. So I knew what I wanted to do. Took my first drink in Liverpool, England, at the age of 9. It was about 10 after 10, and it was on Saturday night. And from then on, that kicked my alcoholism off and my addictive personality. So to cut a long short, because it is a long story short, I started drinking then, and it kind of carried on and carried on. I got to college by the skin of my teeth, still drinking, still using cocaine and stuff like that. Played at Abbey Road. I was a session bass player. Played with Elton John, Queen, Bowie, all them guys. That money put me through college. Got married when I come out, and then it all went wrong, man. I had 2 children, young children, and did a lot of crazy stuff in the house. And eventually she left, and I became homeless, and I was living on the streets, literally, sleeping under bushes and trees and in bus shelters. And I did that for 14 months, man. And 7 suicide attempts, and on 2 occasions it worked. I was dead, and they brought me back to life again. Just a bad life, man. But I swore if I ever got off the streets, I'd spend the rest of my life working with people like me. So 5% of my work today is alcohol, drugs. 95% is childhood trauma, depression, mindset change. So I specialize in neuroscience today and behavioral science, and probably seen over 8,000 patients over the last 30 years with almost 100% success rate. So yeah, enjoying life today, giving back. We're very, very picky what shows we do, because I don't do this to promote. I've got enough money, thank you. I don't need anything from this. And my book, no, go find it if you want to buy. I'm not selling shit on here. But if we can just change one person's life and view, then we've both done a great job today.
I love that. And I think that's what has attracted me to you, Rob, is literally what you just got done saying. Like, I've heard you speak before. I've watched podcasts where you talking, and obviously follow him on Instagram, guys. If you haven't yet, I follow you, and you have some. I fell in love with everything that you do, because it just reminds me of the Think and Grow Rich, right? Like, so you speak about the subconscious mind, and like you said, you do 95% of that. It goes to that side of things. Let's start with that. What's that? Why is mindset more important than anything else for life, for success, for everything?
Well, a lot of it's childhood trauma and the way we're brought up as kids as not being able to push the envelope. We only go as far as our parents or caregivers say we go. So I did the fleas in the jar experiment, which proved we were right about that. But the mind sits inside the brain. So the mind is energy. It's power, it's energy that needs to connect with another energy. Now, hence the saying, the mind can literally program the brain first thing in the morning to have a fantastic, successful day. So if we can do mind over matter, which is the brain is matter, if we can run the mind every day to program the brain and then pick it up and run with that, won't that be amazing? Well, we can. We can literally do that. So we take entrepreneurs, we take failed business guys, we take childhood trauma guys, alcohol, drug guys to build empires. We don't get them to build business. If you want a business, get a website and a business card, you've got a business. If you want to build a fucking empire, this has got to be right. And once this is right, no stopping you. And people always used to say to me in the past, well, you say I can do anything, but I can't be president of the United States. Let's forget the political views for a second, guys. We had a freaking businessman running the country for 4 years with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me that you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true. So if you're in that position where you don't think you can do stuff and you don't think you amount to anything, first of all, I want to apologize to you because somebody's put that there. Somebody's put the brakes on your imagination. You can literally achieve anything that you put your mind to.
And so with that being said, so like levels of thinking is what I call it, right? There's different levels because there's people that are just sitting on the bottom and hey, victim mentality, etc. How does somebody get to that Tom Brady mentality? Because I'm big on believing that like Tom Brady watches who he keeps around. Like he will not have somebody like he's very picky on who's in the room with him before a big game, right? Or used to be before he retired. How do you achieve that Kobe mentality, that Tom Brady? Like, what are some exercises that get you there?
Well, you got to look who's around you at all times. And you have to remember that one person in your circle wants you to fail. The quicker you find out who that person is, the better. And get rid of those. You see how there's a subconscious mind and conscious mind. If you're successful, we're usually coming from a conscious mind. That's today. 3 parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. So this guy needs to run the day. However, the subconscious brain, where all this shit is kept, you never be good enough, you waste of time, you're too fat, you're too thin, you did it, all stored here from childhood trauma and beyond. So what tends to happen is the prefrontal cortex is our decision maker. It screams to the brain, give me an answer, give me an answer, give me an answer to a problem. 99.9% of the time with childhood trauma, you'll go straight to the subconscious brain where all this shit is, and the answer will come from there. So you never be good enough. What the idea is to work on this. So instead of this running the show, you never amount to anything, this runs the show, where you're capable of doing anything in the world. But you know, at the end of the day, when you go home and go to bed, have a guess of who wakes you up tomorrow. It's this guy, the bad guy. So you've got to do your work every single day. So the way to change neural pathways is breath work, teeth, and mirror, as we call it. The biggest thing a human being can do for oneself is oxygen. So we only breathe about 45% of our lung capacity like this. The body needs 100% to perform at 100%. So the presence of oxygen equals a lack of disease. So every disease in the body, cancers, growths, inflammations, grow in a hypoxic area of the body. So the first thing when we get up in the morning, it's one of the reasons that nobody's ever woke up laughing, because lack of oxygen when you wake up. I want you to do 20 exaggerated breaths in. Just 20 of them. You'll go dizzy. What that means is that oxygen is flooding the brain and every cell in the body. Now we're off to a great start. Now the mind is ready. So let's reprogram neural pathways in case the mind does not agree with the brain and vice versa. Go into the bathroom. If you're right-handed and you brush your teeth with your right, 1 week left, 1 week right, 1 week left, 1 week right for 30 days only. Now we're changing patterns. Because a lot of things about patterns, especially self-sabotaging patterns, now we're changing patterns. The other thing is very, very important, is we don't know how other people see us. See, what we do when we're shaving guys in the morning or doing our hair or makeup girls is we get close to the mirror and we see all our blemishes. I want you to stand 6 feet away from the mirror so the blemishes go. And I want you to say, I love you 10 times, eye to eye contact in the mirror. That's flooding the subconscious brain with compliments. Because if you've got conscious, subconscious, and 9 people say you're amazing today, and 1 says you are not, that's where it keeps. And that guy's going, now one guy, that comment from one guy is going to run your day. And then you look at the source, where did that comment come from? That's just ruined my day. It's probably some overweight guy in his mom's freaking basement because he's never amounted to anything, just saying some shit behind a keyboard that's ruined your day. And that's all childhood trauma. You have to realize the source. Back in my day, there were no keyboards. You want to say something, you say it to my face, you pay the price for that comment. Back in the day, where I come from the mean streets of Moss Side, a bit like Beirut with lights. You know, you either fought or you got eaten up, man. And that was the old day. Do it today. It's so easy for someone to make a comment that can upset you, and you got to find out why that upsets you.
And that reminds me there, Robb Kelly, with that whole saying of hurt people, right? And since it definitely goes with everything that you're talking about right now. Where does that come from when people do make those comments? Because let's face it, we're surrounded by all these people, and you have to really, guys, again, you are literally the average of the 5 that you hang out with. And I've been there before. If you're around people smoking weed, guess what? You're going to hit that weed, right? Like it's bound to happen. And it works the opposite way. So with that being said, where do those comments come from? Because growing up, I'm sure everybody can relate to this. You've had those so-called quote unquote friends, right? That made these comments and oh, you think you're going to do music, right? Oh, you think you're going to invest. You think you're going to do this and that. Those comments, I always like to say, Dr. Kelly, what if like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when I was surrounded by 20 people, me thinking, oh, all of you guys are going to have a position in my company. We're going to do this thing. What if back then they would have actually spoke life into me? I would be way further than I am, unfortunately.
You would be that guy hiring them. That's it, you know. We need people around us. There's a great story with Obama, the Obamas, and they go into this old broken down restaurant in the middle of nowhere because the food is amazing, and they're sat eating it, and Barack's like, this is the best food I've ever tasted. And then the waiter comes out and said, the chef wants to see you. So Obama gets to go. Oh, no, Mrs. So she gets up and she goes in, and she's about an hour and she comes back. And Obama said, where have you been, man? And she said, I've been speaking to the chef. We used to date together many, many years ago. So he's a bit jealous. So he said to her, listen, here's the deal. If you would have married him, you'd be the proud owner of a broken down restaurant in the middle of nowhere. And she said, no, Barack, if I would have married him, he would have been the president of the United States. So shows our friends and show your future. It's that you have to get validated by friends and family. So validation runs deep. Affirmation runs deep. So if you're not validated and approved by parents, then we look somewhere else. If we surround ourselves, we hang around the people who want to be. Okay, don't hang around the people that are like you. Don't hang around the people that are less than you. And I don't mean this in a bad way. I come from the projects, man. I'm homeless. I'm the worst. I was in gangs and all sorts of shit. But the common sense and neuroscience tells us that if we can achieve anything, how do we do that? We hang around the people. So I'm in Dallas 4 years ago, and I lived there for 14 years. And I said to my friends, I'm thinking of writing a book. And they said, look, you can't write a book. You're not an author. The other guy said, nah, you're just crazy. So I didn't write a book, man. And I came to San Antonio 4 years ago, and I said to my new friends, I'm thinking of writing a book. And they went, oh my God, we thought you had a book out already. What's wrong with you? You should have wrote. So I wrote a book, man. And that's how life is. If you're not getting validated and approved and you giving that to the people around you, get fucking rid of them. You know? Oh, I don't like my job. Get another job. I don't like my wife. Get another wife. Well, it's not that easy. It really is that easy. Because everybody's put on this earth for a reason and a niche in life and to help others and to prosper, man. Prosper. I'm worth millions of dollars. And I don't mind saying that from home. Why? Because I know all about this and everybody listening can do the same. But look who's around you, all right? Get rid of even family. Get rid of the guys that are not approving you and validating you. Okay, now the mind, the subconscious mind and conscious mind are all working in the same direction. Okay, internal dialogue. If somebody says you're amazing today, you're just the best speaker I've ever heard. Internal dialogue confirms that. Wow, we must be right. I must. Boom, there we go. Beautiful. Somebody sneaks a little comment in, then your internal dialogue repeats that, and that becomes a working part of the mind. So you never, ever going to achieve your goals. So it's been done before, but we got 1,000 fleas and we put them in a mason jar. We screwed the cap on and we put holes. Now fleas can jump 5 or 6 feet in the air. When we left the cap on for 3 days, we took the cap off and not one flea inside that jar would jump higher than where the cap was, which was interesting. But you know, when they had the babies in that jar, the babies won't jump higher than where the cap was, and they had never even seen the cap. We do that with life. If people around you can't see what you're capable and where you're capable of going, you're never going to do it. Because we can't be our own yardstick. We don't know how amazing we look. We don't know how talented we are. We don't know that the guys there playing music and CEOs, that we can be that guy. We don't think we can. The truth is, and it's been proven 8,000 times with me and patients, is you freaking can. You can, and it's not rocket science. It's just belief.
Yo, we'll be right back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle Podcast. Before we continue, I want you to go grab a copy of my book, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. It is out on Amazon. It is out on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, Target.com, and everywhere else books are available. The great news, guys, is you could go to BillyTheKid.com and grab an autographed copy. That is right. I'm going to mail you an autographed copy right now. Audiobook is also available on Audible, and everywhere else audiobooks are available. So go listen to it. Go grab yourself an autographed copy, and I'll see you on the other side, baby. And now back to this great episode of the $1 Million Hustle Podcast. How do you reprogram your subconscious mind? Because the best way to put it is it's basically a computer with all the data from all your life, right? Like, and especially having people like that have poured into you negatively like that. How do you reprogram it and kind of, we'll call it, erase that data? Is that even possible?
100%. The only thing we see here, feel, touch from birth is stored there, and he will always be stored there. That guy that was on the streets with, that guy that fought every day physically to stay alive, that guy's still there. Now, I don't want to see him, you don't want to see him, so he's there. But he's there, man, because I would have died without that guy being there. So, you've got to look at repetition, strengthen, confirms with the basal ganglia. So the basal ganglia is our repetition. A pilot needs 10,000 hours in the air before he can fly a commercial. It's like when you first start driving a car, it's awkward. It's, the road is wide, but we're scared of it. After a few months of doing that, now we can reverse down the driveway, speaking to your girlfriend, texting some of your friends, listening to music at the same time, because it becomes a working part of the mind. So neural pathways split at every decision we have. Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? So what we're doing is, this is the freeway out of your town. We're asking you to go this way for a period of 90 days till all chemicals reset, and then go back to the scene of the crime. Go back to the place where somebody said something to you that devastated you. Here's mine with my mum. How many times, Robert, have I got to tell you, you're too stupid to go to college? Oh, that's deep childhood trauma, man. Because A, you don't really think it is at the time, and B, I never fucking amounted to anything until I went back and did that work on that. Once you do, you reprogram. But the nicest thing with the journey that everybody goes on is this. If you're going through some shit now, you're meant to go through it. Okay? Nothing lasts forever. Fucking ride it out, be there, learn from it. But what happens is when you go through that homelessness, I hated it, man. But now it becomes my greatest asset. Because people sit down in front of me, what do you know, Dr. Robb? What do you know about homelessness? Check. What do you know about stabbing your wife 3 times one night because she won't let you finish your bottle of check? What about losing your kit? Check. What about being someone near to death because you wanted money to buy vodka? Check. So all of a sudden, this becomes important and college doesn't. This shit I taught in college is like 1% of what I do today. The psychology behind it is the other stuff that really matter. And you can change. If you hang around someone, guys, like I used to have this girlfriend, she was awesome, she was my best friend. And she used to always say, I'd say something, she went, shut up. I said, Colleen, stop saying that. I hate it. But you know, after a few weeks of hanging around with her, she said something and I said, shut up. Oh my God. We replicate each other. A mirroring part of the brain will replicate another human being. So it's one of the old sales techniques. You know, you go for a meal with, you know, a prospective buyer. If he crosses his legs, you cross your legs. If he orders orange juice, you order orange juice. If he orders the fish, you order the fish. The more things we have in common, the better we get on. He feels very familiar with the other person. So I believe, babies are born with 2 fears, falling and loud noises. But I believe that every baby is born with $1 million mind. And what happens is we hang around 10-cent minds. I remember when I used to be a kid, kick a football around the street. Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. What about you, Billy? I want to be a professional footballer. What happens to them dreams? I'll tell you, they got kicked out of us by family and friends. That's what happened to them. Most people are encouraged to do the dream and they believe in you, you're going to achieve it. End of story. 100%.
Wow. Woo. Fire. We're just, man, over delivering like always. I had, since we talked about it a little bit earlier, you mentioned in the morning, do breath work and all that. Let's say that you only have 15 minutes a day. What is the most effective way to start programming a success-focused mindset? You have 15 minutes.
Do 5 things every day, guys, in the morning. Get up, right? 5 things that you're going to complete that day. You might do 100, but you got to do the 5 you put down. That's it. Compliment 3 people a day. Dopamine fix. You write them 5 things down every day and complete them. You're going to win all the time. Reprogram. And you'll find yourself doing things. Now the brain goes, just done 5 things that were all good, was successful. And start them like, you know, make the bed in the morning, have your breakfast. There's 2 things of the day you said you're going to do. Checked off, and I got 3 now, you know, and it'll set you on your way. Your whole mindset will change around you when you've seen yourself succeeding. Because then where do you draw the line? I succeed, it's how the brain works. I succeed in making my bed, having lunch, having dinner, going to the gym and seeing my girlfriend. Did all the 5 things today. Check. But where do you start? Get a new job, buy a new car, buy a house, you know, earn 150. Where's it start? Check. That's all the brain wants. Is got checks. And you're capable of doing it. You have to stay focused on what you want and ask yourself 2 things. How bad do you want this? And says who? Well, you can't go to America and be on TV and Oprah and shit. Says who? You can't start a multi-million-dollar bit. Says who? Who's making these fucking rules up? I don't like these rules. You know? When we got married, I've been married 9 years with my wife. We got married, the second day we had an argument about nothing. And I said, this is bullshit. And she said, that's the way marriage is. And I said, says who? And we both looked at each other and went, shit. So we danced in bathrooms, we joke with each other, we wrestle with each other. Well, I'm surprised she hasn't been in yet and thrown a paper at me to bounce off my head. Create the relationship that you want, guys. Create the empire around you that you want, guys. Like, everyone's winging it. And nobody gives a shit. You know, I used to have a blue stripe through my hair. Oh my God, nobody cares. Everyone's got their own problems on. But if you get your shit sorted out with a vision, or don't have a plan B. Arnold Schwarzenegger told me that back in 1979. Okay, do not have a plan B, otherwise forget the plan A. I was with him talking to, he just made the Pumping Iron film. He was over in England. I was a professional, semi-professional bodybuilder. I got to pick him up at the airport and stay in a hotel with him to make sure he got some on the gigs in time. And I remember asking him, I said, the bodybuilding's amazing, Arnold. And he spoke real broken English back then. I said, but what are you going to do after all this goes? And he pulled his chair up right close to him and he said, I have 3 things I'm going to do. I said, this is an idol. Like, tell me the 3 things, man. Like, get bigger, better job. Tell me the 3 things. He said, first of all, I'm going to be the highest paid movie actor in the world. Well, I nearly fell off the chair. You can't even speak English. Are you kidding me? Check. What's the second one? I'm going to become a governor of a state in America, preferably California. And I'm like, that's impossible. You wasn't born in America. I didn't know. I said, what's the third one? It's crazy. What's the third one? I'm going to marry into the Kennedy family. Check, check, and fucking check. And that taught me along. He said, never have a plan B. Have a plan B. Says who? I'll budget one. That's all it comes down to, man, because we start something, we get a comment, and we stop. We start something because of program negative behavior and childhood abuse. We stop. We never. You know, the imposter syndrome all the time. If you only found out what I was really like, you wouldn't like, fuck them guys. You're powerful, you're strong. You can. I used to walk in rooms all the time. I used to open the door and walk in. I used to sit down in AA meetings and I used to talk to myself, I wonder if anybody likes me in here. I'm notable for kicking that freaking door and walking in and go, who the hell do I like in here today? You know, by taking that role, taking that position, taking that leadership position. No one's going to get in your way. And you find out the more up the ladder you go, the more money you earn. Everyone's winging it. Nobody really knows what the fuck they are doing. So nobody cares. So why wouldn't you do it? I mean, I opened an office in Dallas about 7 years ago, and I signed a contract for $1 million for the rent over like 10 years. People go, are you crazy? How do you sleep at night? My answer was this. What can they do to me that I haven't already done to myself? Number one. And number two, what's the worst can happen? They're going to take the office of me? Big deal. And with that mindset, you become a very dangerous man. But business and everything, you attract men and women to you all the time. I still get phone numbers from 20, 25-year-old girls all the time because I'm that powerful. I get the phone number, I give it to my wife, and we both have a good laugh about it because I'm fucking two now, and they're crazy, you know. But they see the passion, you see the strength, you see that, you know, men being men for once. And once you start that role, man, you will succeed in everything you do.
Wow, so true. And I have so many questions. We're gonna have to do a part 2 or something. The question that I have, since you mentioned kids trauma and just ourselves kind of going through it, or with all the bullshit that we've seen, right? How can we change that? Because I have 3 daughters. How can we program them? What are some actions that we can take with our kids to program them the right way?
We'll be right back. Before we continue, go subscribe to Billy the Kid YouTube. That is Billy, DHA Kidd. Also, go follow Billy the Kid Music on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and everywhere else music is available. And now, back to this great episode. Let's go.
Hopping out the 2 door, we're number 2 foul. Feel like Kobe, though I'm winning, need to do more. My mama sorry, college wasn't for me. Street smart, no degree, just like Kobe. Self-made boss with a suit like a mogul. I'm the new era, you see it on my logo.
You have to remember this, and this became controversial saying when I did it on the doctors, I think, and again, don't give a shit, the research is in. Anything less than nurturing as a child is child abuse. You go watch chimpanzees, look at fun, they nurture, they play, and now we've got jobs and stuff like that, but everything should be lifting your children up. Everything should be validated. Everything should be affirmed, you know, all the time. Like in America, it's a little different. Everyone gets a trophy. In England, you got to earn that trophy. And I think that's a big lesson in life is, you know, kids are always winning, when they're not really winning. You get a trophy for coming last and stuff like that. That's not real life. But if you can nurture, if you can lead by example, because that's what we do from parents, is I wanted to be what my dad was, which was a gas fitter for the gas company. He used to dig holes in the roads and make sure them big pipes weren't leaking and everyone got gas. That's what he did. So guess what? That's what I wanted to do. We all want to be like our dads and mom and make them proud, you know. So how they turn out going forward is a direct action from you guys. From you. So if you're a go-getter, if you're showing them that you can be an entrepreneur, that you can succeed, that you're always happy around them, and you have a happy marriage and stuff like that, then they will reciprocate that behavior going forward. Because there's studies, loads of studies, but if a girl, that's a young girl, 9, 10, 11, 12, is in a house where dad comes home, most times drunk, and he ends up in a verbal then fist fight with mom. What's the number one thing that tells that child? This is normal. So when she grows up and leaves the house, she's going to attract, with that mind power, she's going to attract the same person ending up being a junkie or a freaking alcoholic and ends up beating at the end of the day. That's going to happen to the extent that if she meets a good guy, she will self-sabotage that behavior because she doesn't think she's worthy and it doesn't feel natural. So a direct correlation of what you do is how your children will turn out. If you tell them they can do something, they're going to go out and do it, man.
Wow. And going forward, Dr. Kelly, what are some habits that you would push on people just in general? Because obviously there's levels, right? Like there could be a multimillionaire, millionaires, billionaires. What are some habits though that you could do? It just reminds me of with who was it? Warren Buffett. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. So Warren Buffett's like 45 minutes away from the city in Omaha, Nebraska. He was at Bill Gates' house, they're buddies, and Bill Gates' dad asked both of them at dinner. He was like, "Hey, what if you had to define it with one word? What is the key to success with one word?" And they both said it at the same time: focus. And so I would love to hear what are some habits even beyond focus. And the more I think of that story, the deeper I get into that word. And it's so true. Like I think of all the stuff that I've done. I'm sure all the great accolades you've done, like focus is so important. But what other habits can we incorporate?
Vision and focus are number one. Anybody can achieve anything with a vision and focus is correct. And repetition is something that you want to do. So if you want to be the best mechanic in your garage, you've got to keep learning. You've got to keep moving forward every single day. You've got to stick to learning. Never be unteachable. Always be teachable. Like I will sometimes, I'll go out my offices, I'll get clean this stuff and I clean the toilets. Now, what does that tell my staff? It tells them that I will never ask them to do anything that I'm not prepared to do. Now they think they can do what I do, and rightly so. So you have to get into that mindset of everything you do on a daily basis is focused. Every single successful person out in the world that's ever been has had a focus and been disciplined. And I only go running 100 miles every morning. I mean, disciplined by there's my 5 things. This is what I'm going to do at the end of this week. Here's the milestones with the focus and direction that I'm going to achieve at the end. And once that becomes a working part of the mind, success is inevitable. I mean, it's not even whether you like it or not, you will be successful in the category you want to be successful. Sometimes that's getting your kids back and being the best dad ever. Sometimes it's earning $1 billion, you know, but whatever that success is, you've got to dream it, you've got to live it, you've got to walk like it, you've got to act like Kidd. So if you want to be a CEO of this company that you're in right now and you want that position, start acting like a CEO and put feelings towards that. So how would I feel if I was CEO today of, you know, this, I don't know, woodwork factory? Well, I feel good, I feel this, I want to do this, I'm excited. Start feeling that, even though you are not right now, and then you become. So there was a research lab back in the early 70s in England, went to a school, and they said to the headmaster, we have a test that will tell you, the kids were something like 7 to 12, tell you the top 3 kids in your school that's going to be entrepreneurs, empires, billionaires. And they said that's impossible at this age, but can we do it? And he said, yeah. Handed the papers out, took them all back in again, went in the other room, looked through them, walked out, said to the headmaster, it's Billy. The headmaster went, Billy? Are you sure? Yeah, Billy. John? And Jenny. Oh, I don't think you're right with that, but the test, oh yeah, this test, I'm telling you now, them 3 are amazing. We'll be back in a year to see how they're doing. And sure enough, he went back and he said to the headmaster, how's our 3 kids doing? And the headmaster said, we have to set this to the government. How did you know? How can you pick these 3 kids out of 100 kids in the school, the ones that are offered for college already? How did you know? And the research lab says, we didn't. In actual fact, we got the test papers the next day and we threw them in the garbage. And we randomly picked 3 names out of your school. And because we told you they were going to be geniuses, so you treated them like geniuses, so they become. It's the key to life, man. Once you get in a position of focus, discipline, and start, like this guy wanted to be a comedian. And I said, what's on your Facebook? Oh, I'm a mechanic. Why didn't you put comedian on there? Oh, well, I had to put comedian on there. A year later, he was a professional comedian. Because people start treating you like you're supposed to be that person. Stay away from negativity. Always be positive. you know, because how can you change the world on a daily basis? Because if you change the world, shit happens to you. There was a guy who walked to the Golden Gate Bridge and threw himself off and committed suicide. When they found him, they found his address. Let's go back to the address and find out next of kin. While they were in his apartment, they saw a note on the kitchen table, and it read, "I'm walking to the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm going to throw myself off, and I'm going to kill myself unless on the way there," and it was an hour's walk, "somebody smiles at me, says hello, or anything, and I will stop right there, smile back, say hi, come back." Here's the question, guys. How many people, if you walk past today, heading to the Golden Gate Bridge?
Wow.
So once you start helping people, then we become anything we want to be. That's hard.
Fire. And there's the other side, since you are an addiction doctor too. What's the mental behind it, and how does one get rid of a bad habit, right? Because I think even as much as we try, even eating too much is a bad habit, right? Like everything, like being on social media could become a bad habit. So how does one cut those bad habits? What are some actions they can take?
Well, first of all, it's self-sabotage is what we're doing, whether it's iPhone or whatever, we're getting away and making us feel better than we should do, or we believe we should do all of the time. That's part of it, okay? But you have to remember that whatever the habit is, only a symptom to your mind and brain, okay? Let's take alcohol. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. Same with drug addiction, anything else. What it is, it's a self-release, self-sabotage act that we repeat over and over again because it becomes a comfort zone. That's what it is, whether you phone, iPad, whether it be food, text, or whatever it is. We become addicted to that. Now, if we could just sort that addiction out, like the gym, cake, whatever it is, then we'll become geniuses. Because now we're not fighting, 90% is not fighting with addiction. It's not about the alcohol. I never had a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem. Do I have thought from my trauma? So once you get away from this, I want to stop smoking and then smoking a cigarette, stop. It's the symptom. You get rid of that cigarette that day, what are you left with? You're still left with you that wants to self-sabotage. That's been in the family from birth because your mom smoked or your dad. Now we're going into generational enmeshment and learned behavior. It's not the problem. You are the problem. So once you go back and clear the mind of that stuff that took you there, the cigarette is nothing. The alcohol is nothing. The drugs are nothing. The point is not the problem. And people concentrate on that instead of what the real problem is, and that is internal. You know, are you spiritually connected? Are you happy what you do? Are you complimenting people? Are you being that positive guy every day? If you do have goals, you have disciplines, you have, routines. And once you get into that, the easier it becomes. Remember, the more the basal ganglia picks it up, our repetition, strength that confirms, the more it becomes a working part of the mind. So through a process that we do here using somatic experience, NLP, brain spotting, 9D, deep breath work and trauma work, we get rid of that. You become the person today that can stop doing any habit you want. Everything's great in moderation, but most people, because of childhood trauma, will take it to the next level. Most people have the addictive personality. You know who has addictive personality? Anybody, like the guys that run Google and Apple, they're the guys that have the addictive personality, just like you. Stop self-sabotaging. It sounds easy. It's not as easy as it sounds, but you can go back and do this shit and stay focused. Most of the companies that you see now that are over $1 billion started in a freaking garage. A garage or a bedroom even. A bedroom. But they start, let's take the Apple guys. They started to walk, talk, believe, and act as if they were pioneers of the 20th century and the 21st century in this case. That become because the people started treating like that. And he had a vision, man. If I can see that you can put 2,000 songs on this film, I can see it. Just go ahead, go away and find a way to do it. And because he could see it, imagine this. The first 10 guys around him that actually created the first iPod, they had no idea how to do it. But because he believed, and he said to them, guys, go out and do this because you can do it. They performed miracles because he believed in them and vice versa. So if a boss says you're ready to jump up to CEO, that's a confirmation and a validation from him, your mentor, that you're capable of doing it. Rather than somebody going, oh, I don't know if you're ready or not. Negativity all the time. Get rid of the negativity in your brain and around you, because the subconscious brain loves that shit. It loves them bad compliments, them little snidey remarks that friends make in earshot over ear. Who does he think he is, that guy? You know, who the fuck do you know? Who's he? Them guy, man, get rid of them guys. I just lost 150 pounds in the last 18 months of weight. I used to be 350, you know, and now 200 pounds, maybe a little tiny bit over. But how did I do that? Mindset, belief, and surrounding myself with the guys that are healthy and fit. Comes a working part of the mind. It's the same now. I have 5 businesses. You know why? Because I can, and I believe that anything I touch will turn to gold. You know. But here's the most important part, I think, is we're talking about the mind being energy. All right. So an energy must connect with an energy. Can't be a tree, can't be a donut. So when an energy connects to the energy of the universe, or a spiritual being, or God, or Uncle Billy, whatever you want to call it, when a connection is made between the energy outside and the energy in the mind, and we change the way you think, your DNA changes. Fuck, you're not the same person. Now you can go on and create empires and be the best dad in the world. I just don't have time. Bullshit. That's a bullshit excuse. I haven't got time to. Bullshit excuse. You're writing things every day, you become dedicating. Write the 5 things you want to do every single day, and make sure you do them. Even play with the kids. Take time out. These guys that work like 12-hour days, man, you know, they're scared of the boss. The only person or people around you, okay, when you leave or die, that recognizes you did 12 hours a day, is not the boss of the company. It's your fucking kids.
Wow.
Kids, man. So balance that shit out. You'll never get rich by working for somebody else. You'll never get rich by working for somebody else. Why can't you do it? That's how I started all this stuff. Why can't I do it? Well, I can. Probably better than they can, because now I have the experience from working from them. You got to take that leap, man. Take that leap of faith or whatever it is to the next step and believe you can do it, and you will not fail. Unless one day you get up and go, no, fuck all this, and I'm not doing this anymore. I don't like it. I'm going to go back on cocaine. Great. But if you don't, how far can you push that envelope, man? And I'm telling you now, you could walk a marathon with that envelope because nobody can stop you, man.
Woo. Fire. The next question, and we're going to start wrapping it up here. I know you got to head out, Dr. Kelly. And again, I appreciate your time. I feel like everybody has a different definition when you are truly happy. What is your definition of happiness?
I have something that not a lot of people have, and that is enough. When you get to a level of your life where you have enough, you become the happiest person you've ever been. And for me, I've worked very hard to get where I am today, and that is a state of bliss and happiness. I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 English bulldogs. I have crazy toys because I can afford it. What the fuck? Live in a big house. You know, stupid cars, and yeah, I like it. Does that give me happiness? No. Comes from here. So we have 2 brains, one here and what's called the little brain inside the heart. And when they connect, you're peaceful with the world and you're living in the now.
Wow.
So I've ever been, man, the last 9 years. And I refuse to be anything else. I see people all the time, what's your scale of 1 to 10 or 5, 6? What's yours, Dr. Kelly? 10. Can't be a 10 every day. Says who? Who keeps making his rules up? I don't like him. Yeah, I'm a 10 every day. I can't have a bad day. Now, I have better days than others, like everyone else. But how the hell can I have a bad day when I just woke up in a bed as opposed to a park bench? But my wife kisses me with a cup of tea and my English bulldogs lick my... How can I have a bad day? I can't. So what I do is people come, oh, I had a bad day today. And I go, let's break that down, okay? Was it a bad day? Or was it 5 minutes that you spread out all freaking day because you're lazy and you're just a little bad guy who wants to think bad things and be negative all the time? Which is it? And everybody says it was the 5 minutes. And you can't stay. You're wasting your life. We don't have time. Everyone thinks you've got time. Waving the kids by to kindergarten, next minute I'm waiting. You haven't got time. Listen, guys, listen. Most of the people that we interviewed, friends and families on the deathbed, said the same thing. I thought I had more time. You don't have time. Date that girl, buy that house, get that car, start that empire now. Do it today. Wow. Don't wait. No one gives a shit. Don't wait.
Wow.
And you will blow your mind at what you're capable of doing. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it. You'll never do it tomorrow. Oh, well, I'm not ready yet. You're never going to be ready. That is a fact from the human being, brain, mind, biological way we think. It's a fact that you're never going to be ready and you never think you're going to be good enough to do this. You don't have time. Do it now.
Wow, man. And you mentioned in there, Dr. Kelly, like kissing your wife and all that. It's funny. There was this video that I was watching where it just talked about how make those kisses last longer, and that it should last about 6 seconds for the kiss that you give your wife, and that's when you release the oxytocin. So it just reminded me of that right now that you you mentioned that. To wrap it up, I ask every guest the same questions, and the first one that I have, so I wrote a book called The Power of Being Uncomfortable, and there's so many different times that you got uncomfortable, but what is one that comes to your head when I ask you, what is that one time that you got uncomfortable and it paid off?
Just stepping out of that zone and starting a business rather than working for somebody. It was that, I felt really uncomfortable about it. I wasn't too sure. I was less than, but yeah, that was the point when I stepped over from comfort zone to success zone. That was it. And we all have to do it.
Yeah, love it. And this one here, I would love to hear your answer with all the stuff that you went through, which I relate to a lot of it. And thank God we are where we are. But if you were to look at your younger self, what is the piece of advice you would give yourself to that teenager back then?
Take that step, take that leap, take that step, man, towards greatness. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you to take that step. Nobody's coming to rescue you. So this is it, Rob. Let's go out and make the best of the world, and let's do everything we can do, and let's have our good times, have our bad times. We're a bit like a car. Human beings are like a car battery. You need a negative and a positive to start the car. Same with life. If you go through the negative, how do you know how good the positives are? So get them to go through life, enjoy life, smile every day. Really hard to do, and everything's going to be okay.
And Dr. Kelly, it's almost the opposite end of that. If you're in your deathbed, what is one thing that you would tell people out there?
Oh my God, I've done thousands of these. That's the only question. The only time someone's asked me that question. Oh shit. Dance as often as you can. That would be it.
Love it.
Wow. I'm blown away with that question, actually. I've done thousands of these, and that's the first. Now, you had me stuck for words for a second. That's the first time that's happened. Brilliant. Good job.
Love it. Thank you. Love it. Let's go.
That's going on Facebook right after this. That is brilliant.
Thank you. Love it. No, that's an amazing answer. And this one is so again, as we started the show, the $1 Million Hustle is basically habits of how to become that, right? Like how to become that millionaire. If you had to tell somebody, hey, you do these 3 things, whether they're habits or whatever, you do these 3 things, you will not fail, you will become successful. What are 3 things you would tell somebody?
Do your morning work, we just discussed. Make as many friends as possible. You've got to make a new friend every day. Contacts is everything. Communication, another bit, settle being, and act as if you already are. I was broke, man. I used to walk in places like hotels, like not even there, with like a shirt on, probably ripped or something. But I acted as if I own that hotel, and people started to treat me that way. Excuse me, would you like coffee? Yes, please. I'd like coffee. Thank you very much. It's crazy, but start acting as if you already are.
Love it. Fire. And what is one quote that like you live by that you love?
That's who. That's it. I put on a t-shirt and it says who. When people give you advice, it's true.
I love that.
Feelings
so
are not
true.
Facts. They're not just feelings. It hurts. It's going through. They're not facts.
Yeah.
I think you do this. They're not facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And real quick, Dr. Kelly, it's funny. I was supposed to ask this at the beginning of the show to make a book of the week. What's one book? But there's been so much fire that we didn't even get to. But briefly, what's one book that you would recommend somebody that has changed your life?
I would right now. I would say the Four Agreements. If you haven't got it, Google it. Go read it. It's brilliant. You know, it really is brilliant. It shows us how to enjoy life and with four simple words.
Love it. And where can people find you?
Well, if you're just listening and not watching, I spell my name with two B's, ROBBKELLY.com is the website. Dr. Robb Kelly on any search engine. Come and see us, come and find us. And if you get on today and said, hey, I heard you on Billy the Kid's podcast, I'll send you a free copy of my book. I'll even pay the postage and mailing, and I'll sign it as well.
Wow. You guys heard that, guys. Take advantage of that. Go grab his book. You're a legend, Dr. Kelly. I just wanted to tell you that. And again, I've been looking forward to this. So everything aligned. We did it. And honestly, I would love to see part 2. And then I'll see you around, man. I'm going to definitely go listen to you speak. I mean, you fire me up every single time. It never fails. Those of you who are listening, please make sure that you follow him. Go grab that free book. Like you just heard it here. And make sure you follow me. Go ahead and screenshot where you're listening. Tag both of us. We'll reshare it. That way we all get our message out there. And that is it. That's all I got. Dr. Kelly, anything else before we get out of here?
Enjoy life, man. Just fuck everybody. Nobody cares. Don't worry about them. You know, love your loved ones and just have fun. But listen, guys, if you're at home listening to this and you're that guy that we just talked about, you're the guy that's never going to amount to anything, sat in a one-bedroom apartment, broken down, the wife's left, the kids have gone, and you think that this is it and it's over, 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Send me a text. It's me, by the way. It's not my secretary reception. Send me a text and I will text you back and we'll arrange a 20-minute call that will change your life. It's like a pep talk. You know, if it doesn't, I'm going to send you $100 for wasting your time.
Wow. Woo, man. Let's go, Dr. Kelly. Thank you so much, man. I will see you around. Thank you so much.
Close-minded people mad at me that I'm speaking facts. Or maybe could it be that I'm getting racks? Open your mind, gotta open it to receive. I'm always 10 toes for what I believe. Close-minded people mad at me that I'm speaking facts. Or maybe could it be that I'm getting racks? Open your mind, gotta open it to receive. I'm always 10 toes for what I believe.